Many a parent has had dark thoughts at 3 a.m. when the baby's been crying for an hour. But imagine the baby has been crying for days. Other parents may be full of advice, but they never raised your baby. This is not a Dateline survivor story, but if you've ever struggled with a fussy newborn, you know it could be. Here's Dawn Fratangelo with a Dateline Family Focus.
Here we go.
It's the idyllic scene every parent hopes for. An adorable, perfect baby. A happy, proud mother.
She's a delight. She's loving, she's funny, outgoing and warm. She's great.
This is exactly how Jennifer Harrington envisioned parenthood. But she never dreamed it would be like this. Within seconds, 10-month-old Holly can turn from angelic to angry. She doesn't like nap time or bedtime or any time her mom wants to get her to sleep.
It just drives me to the brink of insanity, basically. I mean, I get to my wit's end.
That's because Holly's hollering has been going on every day since she was born.
Other people with children even don't really understand how worked up she gets. She's cried up to 3 hours before.
3 hours?
Yes.
Straight?
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't lower in intensity, it actually builds.
What are you feeling when you see her like that?
I feel like I'm failing as a mother. I feel like, well, what am I doing wrong? You know, I must be missing something.
It's a common reaction for many parents, and especially those trying to deal with the estimated 10% of children who are considered difficult or spirited.
Every child is different. Lots of parents expect a child to come into the world in a certain way. They expect the Charmin squeezably soft baby, and not all babies are like that.
Child psychologist Jan Kristal has been researching behavioral problems with children for more than 15 years, studying how they react to the world around them. And for those like Holly, there may be a reason for their outbursts, something called temperament.
When you know the child's temperament, then you're able to determine what's going on with this child and know how to react and how to work with this child.
Through a program at Kaiser Permanente in Northern California, Jan Kristal and other psychologists have measured the temperament of 23,000 children, ranging in ages from 4.5 months to 8 years. It's an instruction manual of sorts for any parent to understand how their child is wired.
Here's how it works. Parents rate their child in a survey with questions ranging from how the child reacts to strangers to how fussy the child is when falling asleep. The information is placed in a computer, and a specially designed program measures a child's temperament in 9 different categories. How persistent are they? How sensitive? How adaptable? Parents may not be able to change a child, but once they understand their temperament, they can change how they deal with their child's behavior.
Can you modify a child's temperament?
Well, temperament is fairly innate. I mean, it comes in with the child. And I think temperament can be modified. But I don't think as far as, can you make an active child an inactive child? I don't think so.
Jennifer Harrington found her way into the temperament program one night out of desperation. Exhausted by Holly's crying, she called the hospital emergency room for help.
I thought for sure they were going to refer me to, like, the loony bin, the psychiatric department or something like that. But they said, well, have you heard about our temperament program? And I said, no.
That's how Jennifer and her husband Steve met Jan Kristal. After they filled out the questionnaire, Jan was able to measure Holly's temperament and help her parents with specific strategies.
As we see, she's very much above the average in activity level. Oftentimes it's hard to get these kids to go to bed because they think they're going to, sleep is boring and they think they're going to miss something.
The Harringtons also learned Holly is highly sensitive and slow to adapt to changes, such as moving from playtime to nap time. Jan's advice could work with other children who have the same temperament. She told the Harringtons to create a routine and follow it in the same order every single day. Also, ease Holly into bedtime so the transition is not so abrupt. This way, they would be responding to Holly's temperament and not imposing their demands on her.
But once you get that routine established, she's going to insist on it because she's so slow adapting that she will want that routine. Then you've got it made.
We'll see. Jan says the strategies may take 3 to 4 weeks to work. We'll check back with the Harringtons to see if there's any progress. In the meantime, meet 2.5-year-old Nicholas, who comes equipped with his very own temperament. His mother, Joanne, says he's active, outgoing.
And it's exhausting. Yeah, he's just constantly moving all the time, from the moment he wakes up till the moment he goes to bed, except during nap time.
And how do you handle that?
We have activities every day just so I don't go crazy, because we can't stay at home.
Does Joanne's lament sound familiar? To get an idea, we spent the day with Nicholas. 9 a.m., a playgroup. He's the most active of the bunch and a bit aggressive with water.
Oh, honey, Jit, careful.
With a toy car. And with a stick. Even after a full day of activities, by 6 p.m., Nicholas is still going full speed.
Swing.
Very good.
Good.
After nearly 3 years of this, his mother Joanne has had to take vacations by herself just to get a break. She says she's tried everything, even had Nicholas tested for hyperactivity.
Whoa, good one, honey.
The results were negative.
Wait, oh, ouch.
I wonder, why can't I handle this? What am I doing wrong that I can't get him to be a little calmer? And then I realize that it's not me so much as that's the way that he is.
And psychologists say that's exactly what parents should understand about their child's temperament. Instead of fighting it, work with it. So to better understand how Nicholas is and how she can handle him, Joanne turned to the temperament program. Joanne met with Jan. The results? Nicholas is highly active, slow to adapt, and rushes into new situations without thinking. The solution? Cut down on activities since he's having trouble adjusting from one event to the next. Joanne was also told to use the stop, look, and listen technique. In other words, tell Nicholas where they're going and what's expected of him before any activity.
And you're going to have to do that every single time.
How do I do that with we get out of the car and he's just off.
Right. Well, you're going to talk about it at home.
Before we go.
You're going to practice it at home.
There are different strategies for different temperaments, whether your child is active, aggressive, or shy. Though some of Jan's advice is universal, she gives each family its own plan of action, depending on results of the questionnaire and the computer analysis.
It sounds too good to be true. That you take a questionnaire, you put the data in a computer, and poof, here you go.
Right. But it's not like you get the answers and that's it. It takes a lot of work on the parents' part. And they have to be on top of these kids. And it is work. It's not a magic bullet.
But it is a way for parents to get in tune with their children, accept them for who they are, and be ready for new behaviors that are unique to their child's temperament. That's precisely what Joanne and Jennifer tried to do. So 4 weeks later, we stopped back to visit.
And where are we going today?
No.
Going to magic movement class? Where, at Montclair Park?
Joanne is using the stop, look, and listen routine,
Sing and dance?
preparing Nicholas for the morning events.
Open, shut down. Open, shut down.
And something is working. This is the first time Nicholas took an active role in the magic movement class. Before, he refused to participate. And what's this? Nicholas playing calmly with other children.
He's a lot more calm now. He's still active, but he just doesn't, jump at things. He's prepared ahead of time what's going on, so he doesn't get into as many aggressive behaviors with other kids.
Joanne has also cut down on Nicholas's activities after she realized he was slow to adapt to new situations. She's also learned something else about his temperament.
I realize that Nicholas and I, even though we're both extroverts, have different temperaments, and that I have to learn how to get along with his different temperament. I think it's a little bit of a slow process, but I can see changes already. So you can film us in a couple years and see if we have another one.
And what about hollering Holly? Well, these days, she's screaming less.
All right, how about hop on pop today, all right?
Jennifer now follows the advice from the temperament program, a daily routine for getting Holly used to nap time. First, a story.
Where is Brown? There is Brown. Mr. Brown is out of town.
Then a song.
Rock-a-bye, baby.
Then into the crib. It no longer takes hours for Holly to fall asleep. Her mother now says it can happen within 4 minutes. And Jennifer no longer feels as guilty.
I used to blame myself for being a bad parent. Now I know it's not me. It's just her temperament. This is a new world for me. I am so much more happy. I feel more relaxed. I feel like there's nothing I can't handle now. One nap for Holly and me! Yay!
As many parents discover, the moment you get a regular, manageable routine going with the baby, he'll grow into a brand new one. But after several more months, Jan Kristal reports things are still going well. Nicholas has ups and downs, but he's doing way better than he was before. And Holly is no longer hollering and sleeping much better. Presumably, her parents are too. If you'd like to profile your child and get some tips on handling different temperaments, visit our website at dateline.msnbc.com.